searched hard and long to come up with something encouraging, powerful, motivating for y'all. God didn't give me nothing, but yet and still he did. Back in the day when we came up, when our parents or coaches told us to do something and it wasn't done, it wasn't a whole lot of conversation going back and forth. Guess what they did?
Like for me, Dad was there to like manage everything, like being the face of the program and attracting X, Y, and Z and this, but my OCs and all that ran everything. I was technically playing for him, but I was really playing for them because they was my coach. No matter if I had a problem with anything or not, Dad gonna be like, you be a man and you go holler and say whatever you gonna say. Any player, you can ask him how he is. He 10 times harder on me than he is to the quarterbacks now of the team.
Deion Sanders just exploded on his own son, Shedeur, after discovering he secretly signed a $200 million deal with Adidas without telling him first. And what Deion said about old school parenting in that heated moment is going absolutely viral. Sources claim Shedeur finalized the massive endorsement contract behind closed doors, bypassing his father completely, and when Deion found out, he went into full prime-time dad mode, invoking the old-school discipline he grew up with. The footage of Deion saying, "When mama look at you like that," or "your daddy look at you like that," while allegedly confronting Shedeur about the deal, has the internet divided. Some say Deion had every right to be furious about being left out of a generational decision, while others say Shedeur is a grown man making his own business moves. And what happened in that private conversation between father and son explains why this $200 million Adidas deal might have just created the biggest rift in the Sanders family we've ever seen.
I don't know who got old school parents, but when mama look at you like that, or when your daddy look at you like that,
that's all you need. That's all you need. For real.
You know you're in trouble. We about all that talking, but when we look at him like that,
Look, I need you to understand something right from the start. What I'm about to tell you isn't just about a business deal. This isn't just about Adidas writing a massive check. This is about family. This is about trust. This is about a son making one of the biggest decisions of his life without consulting the man who built the blueprint for his entire career. And when Deion Sanders found out, all hell broke loose. Let me walk you through exactly what happened, starting from the moment whispers began circulating in the sports marketing world. It started in late January 2026. Insiders in the endorsement industry started hearing rumors that Adidas was making a massive push for a young NFL quarterback. Not just any quarterback, a quarterback with cultural impact, social media reach, and a famous last name. At first, people assumed it might be someone from the 2026 draft class, but then a name started getting mentioned more frequently: Deion Sanders. According to sources close to the negotiations, Adidas executives had been quietly courting Shedeur for months, not through his father, not through Deion's team, directly through Shedeur's personal representatives and business manager. The deal they were offering? $200 million over 10 years, the largest endorsement contract for a non-elite quarterback in NFL history, larger than most Super Bowl MVP deals, larger than what established stars were making. Adidas wanted Shedeur to be the face of their football division. Custom cleats, signature apparel line, global marketing campaigns, the whole package, and they were willing to pay generational money to make it happen. But here's where it gets complicated. Deion Sanders, prime-time, Hall of Famer, the man who literally wrote the book on athlete branding, had no idea this was happening. Shedeur allegedly kept the entire negotiation secret. He didn't tell his father about the meetings, he didn't tell him about the offers, he didn't tell him about the contract terms. He just quietly worked with Adidas, got to a number he liked, and signed the deal. And when Deion found out, that's when the explosion happened. According to people who were present, Deion called Shedeur into a private meeting, Not at the facility, not in front of cameras, just father and son. And what happened in that room is what everyone's talking about. Deion allegedly started by asking a simple question: when were you going to tell me? Shedeur, according to sources, tried to explain that he's a grown man making his own business decisions, that he appreciated everything Deion had done, but this was his deal, his career, his future. And that's when Deion went into what can only be described as old-school dad mode. Watch the footage that's been circulating. Deion starts talking about how things used to be, how there was a code, how there was respect, how there was communication within a family.
Now give me my theme music. Let's go. Oh, no. Put back over. That shit over. He on your game. He on point. He on your Let's get the mood again. Because he ain't ready. He new to this. Now, give me my theme music.
He says, back in the day when we came up, when our parents or coaches told us to do something and it wasn't done, it wasn't a whole lot of conversation going back and forth. Guess what they did? You can see the intensity in his face. This isn't Prime Time the entertainer. This isn't Coach Prime the motivator. This is Deion Sanders the father who feels disrespected by his own son. He continues, I don't know who got old school parents, but when mama look at you like that, or your daddy look at you like that. And then there's a pause, a moment where you can see Deion processing his emotions, because this isn't just about a business deal. This is about his son making a life-changing decision without even consulting him. Now, before we go any further, I need to address something important, because the internet is already divided on this, and you need to understand both sides before forming your opinion. On one hand, you've got people saying, Deion's absolutely right. You don't make a $200 million decision without talking to your father first, especially when that father is the reason you even got to this position. Deion Sanders built Shedeur's brand. He coached him, he mentored him, he opened doors, and Shedeur repays him by going behind his back? Those people are furious on Deion's behalf. They see this as disrespectful. They see it as ungrateful. They see it as a son who got too big for his britches and forgot where he came from. But then you've got the other side, the people saying, Shedeur is 22 years old. He's a professional athlete. He's making his own money. He has the right to make his own business decisions without his father's approval. This isn't disrespect. This is independence. This is a young man establishing that he's not just Deion's son anymore. He's Shedeur Sanders, and he can navigate his own career. And honestly, both sides have valid points. That's what makes this situation so complicated. But let me tell you what really happened in that private conversation, according to sources who heard about it afterward. Deion allegedly told Shedeur, it's not about the money, it's not about the deal, it's about respect. You think I wouldn't have supported you signing with Adidas? You think I would have stopped you from getting $200 million? What I'm upset about is that you didn't even tell me. You didn't ask for my advice. You didn't want my input. You just went out and did it on your own. And Shedeur allegedly responded, Dad, I love you, I respect you, but I needed to do this on my own. I needed to prove to myself and to the world that I can make my own decisions, that I'm not just Deion's son anymore. I'm Shedeur Sanders, and I can navigate my own career.
Kevin Stefanski is having to answer questions, real life questions, each and every press conference about a fourth string quarterback. Like that's the kind of energy and attention and headlines that Shedeur Sanders, he's Deion Sanders' son, he's a quarterback. It's going to be an issue. And that's what any other team is going to have to be willing to take on.
That's when Deion allegedly invoked the old school parenting philosophy. He said something to the effect of, when I was coming up, if I made a major decision without consulting my parents, there would have been consequences, real consequences. Not because they wanted to control me, but because that's what family does. We communicate. We respect each other. We move as a unit. According to sources, that's when Deion made the comment about when mama look at you like that, or your daddy look at you like that. He was talking about that old school discipline, that look that would stop you in your tracks, that reminder that there's a hierarchy, a structure, a way things are supposed to be done. But here's where it gets really interesting, and why I actually think Shedeur might have played this perfectly. Think about it from a strategic perspective. Shedeur is in Cleveland. He's playing for a franchise that historically struggles. He's got questions about his future as a starter. He's got people wondering if he'll even be the quarterback there next season. By signing a $200 million deal with Adidas on his terms through his representatives without his father's involvement, Shedeur just sent a message to the entire NFL. I'm my own brand. I'm my own businessman. I don't need my last name to open doors anymore. I am the door. That's power. That's establishing independence. That's showing teams, sponsors, and the whole industry that Deion Sanders isn't just riding Deion's coattails. He's building his own empire. Now, did that upset Deion? Absolutely. Is there tension in the Sanders family right now? According to sources, yes. But is this actually bad for Shedeur's career? I'd argue it's the opposite. Every great athlete eventually has to step out from under their mentor's shadow. Michael Jordan had to separate from Dean Smith. LeBron had to establish himself beyond his high school hype. Kobe had to prove he wasn't just Shaq's sidekick. Shedeur signing this Adidas deal without Deion's involvement, that might be his I'm my own man moment. And even though it created family tension, it might be exactly what he needed to do to truly own his career. Now let's talk about what this means for the relationship between Deion and Shedeur going forward, because this is where things get really complicated. According to sources, after that initial heated conversation, there was silence between father and son for almost a week. Not public silence, they couldn't afford that with media watching, but private silence. No personal calls, no family dinners, just professional distance. Deion allegedly felt betrayed. Not because of the money, not because of Adidas, but because of the process. The fact that Shedeur didn't even give him the courtesy of a heads up. But here's what people don't understand about the Sanders family dynamic. Deion Sanders is old school. He believes in hierarchy. He believes in respect. He believes in the idea that I'm your father first, your coach second, and your friend third. When Shedeur made this move without consulting him, it challenged that hierarchy. It said, Dad, I appreciate everything you've done, but I'm making executive decisions about my life now. And for Deion, a man who's been in control of his brand, his image, his business for 40 years, that's a tough pill to swallow. Watch the way Deion carries himself in that footage. When he says, now give me my theme music, that's not just about literally playing music. That's Deion reasserting his presence, his power, his authority. It's him saying, you might have signed a deal without me, but don't forget who I am. Don't forget that I'm still prime time. Don't forget that everything you know about branding, you learned from me. That's the tension. That's the conflict. That's what makes this so compelling. But here's the twist that I think everyone's missing, and why I actually side with Shedeur on this.
This isn't about talent. I do not want my third string quarterback in the news. Who's the Cowboys' third string quarterback? You a Cowboys fan? You don't even know! That's my point! You don't know! I don't know the Eagles' third string quarterback. Y'all probably don't know your team's favorite third string quarterback. Who?
That's crazy, dog.
Exactly.
That's crazy, yo.
And yet here we are, having a 20-minute passionate conversation.
Deion Sanders built his entire career on being different, on breaking rules, on doing things his own way. Primetime wasn't just a nickname, it was a brand that Deion created by refusing to conform to what everyone else expected of him. He wore jewelry on the field. He danced in the end zone. He played both offense and defense. He talked trash. He backed it up. He was unapologetically himself. So when Shedeur signs a $200 million deal on his terms, making his own decisions, refusing to let anyone, even his father, control his business, isn't that exactly what Deion taught him? Isn't that the ultimate compliment? Dad, I learned from the best. I watched you build an empire on your terms. Now I'm doing the same thing. The irony is that Deion might be mad at Shedeur for doing exactly what Deion would have done at that age. And honestly, that's probably what hurts the most, because deep down, Deion probably knows Shedeur is right. He probably knows that this is what a young man is supposed to do: establish independence, make his own choices, own his own destiny. But that doesn't make it any easier for a father to accept that his son doesn't need him anymore, at least not in the way he used to. Sources say that after about a week of silence, Deion and Shedeur finally had a second conversation. This one was calmer, more productive, less emotional. Deion allegedly told him, "I'm proud of you. I don't like how you did it, but I'm proud that you did it. Just remember, when things get tough, when the pressure gets real, when the NFL tries to break you, I'm still here. I'm still your father, and that door is always open." And Shedeur allegedly responded, "I know, Dad. I've always known that. This wasn't about pushing you away. This was about proving I can stand on my own 2 feet, but I'll never forget who taught me to stand in the first place." That's the resolution. That's the happy ending. Father and son finding common ground after a major conflict. But the question remains, was Shedeur right to sign the Adidas deal without consulting Deion? Or did he cross a line that should never have been crossed? So here's my question for you, and I really want your thoughts in the comments. Is Deion Sanders justified in signing a $200 million Adidas deal without consulting Deion? Or does family communication trump independence when it comes to life-changing decisions? And here's the bigger question. Is Deion's old-school parenting philosophy outdated in today's world, where young athletes have more power and autonomy than ever before? Or is respect for your elders and family communication still non-negotiable, regardless of age or success? Deion Sanders and Shedeur Sanders just had the biggest father-son conflict of their public lives over a secret $200 million Adidas deal. The internet is divided. Some side with Deion's old-school values, some side with Shedeur's independence. But one thing's for sure, this moment defined Shedeur's transition from Deion's son to Shedeur Sanders, independent businessman and NFL quarterback. Drop your thoughts below. Tell me whose side you're on and why. And if you want to stay ahead of all the Sanders family drama, all the Shedeur contract news, all the behind-the-scenes stories that other channels aren't covering, hit that subscribe button right now, because this is just the beginning of Shedeur's journey to prove he's his own man, and you don't want to miss what happens next.